Okay, we are live. Hello, Logan. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, Matt. Thanks. How are you doing?
I just got done watching that election. Yay.
The sun hasn't gone supernova yet, so that's a good sign.
we're all still alive. We're all still alive. Everybody stop freaking out. Calm down.
Uh, so I gotta fix my little screen, fix my camera here. I guess that's pretty good. Still a little bit of a delay.
A little bit. That's probably on my end. I got really crappy service.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. Whoever's hosting it, I think you have like pretty close to the time. Like when you talk, it goes on. But like when we were doing the hangout on Sunday, you were seeing the video like you said 10 seconds later. It's the same thing with me here. So it's just whoever's hosting it, I think, has doesn't have a delay.
Oh, I need a faster broadband.
We got a couple of people. Hello, Emo. Hello, Zabora.
There we go. As soon as I load up here, so I can join in the little chat over here.
Yeah, where? Yeah, I saw you.
There we go. We do that. Alrighty. All right, so I had an idea because I was watching the election on one screen and then I was watching Twitter on my computer screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as I'm watching all the states turning pretty colors and everything, and I just see a lot of really like butthurt people. Now I'm one of those people who decided not to vote
Oh,
because
see, we all hate you.
I know, right? It's my fault. It's all my fault that Trump got into office.
Yeah, well,
Just
we
plain and
don't know
simple.
if it's your fault. We're going to blame you anyway.
And global warming. All the hot air I spew.
Mm-hmm.
But now you got, of course, you got your prominent names. You got your, Franny's out there freaking out. Lacey Green's out there freaking out. Calling everybody who voted for Trump a racist and misogynist. And it's like, I want to hear both sides of the story. Like, I didn't support either Trump or Hillary. I think they're both equally crazy. I think they're both equally bad. But I wanted to get a few people on here just to see why they wanted one over the other in this election. Now, are you one of those just decided not to vote as well?
No, I voted. I voted. Yeah.
Which are you comfortable sharing who you voted for?
I don't usually share, but I mean, I voted for Hillary.
All right.
But I mean, usually, I mean, especially in this election, I wasn't saying who I was going to vote for up until the election. But now that it's over, I can say who I voted for. And I voted for Hillary.
Right.
I voted for Hillary, and the only reason why I voted for Hillary is because I just didn't want Trump in the office. Because he's, I mean, honestly, I don't like Hillary either. I mean, they're both, in my opinion, they had they had their good points, they had their bad points, but I think Trump's bad points outweighed Hillary's. Trump is a narcissistic, greedy, maniacal, egotistical fucktard. I don't think he's an outright racist. I don't think he's an outright bigot, but I don't think that he will have empathy and sympathy for the working class, to be quite honest. Because he's like,
Right.
if you know Trump's history, like basically what he did in New York, where he just tore down low income communities, basically evicted all of those people and built these these this crummy rich housing, and then I mean that whole thing was just a fiasco. So that's what he's good at doing. He's good at making money. So I don't think he's going to have anyone's interest except himself and the people who he's close to. So
Right, and that seems to be the general consensus with a lot of non-Trump, more I should say more logical people.
mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not going to say the outright, you know, SJWs and feminists, because those they always cry at the racist and he's bigoted and everything else, which you know, like you said, there are some good points, there are some bad points. One of the good points I found about Trump was the crackdown on illegal immigration. Not immigration, illegal immigration. A lot of people don't understand that's what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, he may be a businessman, but he's a failed businessman. You know, and I tweeted out, and I'm like, okay, so what do you guys want? War or debt?
Now, I've heard this several times now, and I was on Facebook and people were freaking out. Why do people feel that we're going to go to war? I don't understand where this fear is coming from. Do you know?
It was one of Hillary's statements was that she wanted to put a no-fly zone over Syria.
Mm-hmm.
Russia's occupying Syria right now.
Mm-hmm.
A no-fly zone over Syria while Russia's there would have been bad news bears. That's basically the bully.
Is this the first time in our U.S. history that we've had a no-fly zone over another country?
but we had the resources to back it up. After this war,
but we've done
hurting.
that. We've done that before. We did that. I think we did that in Iran. I think we even did that in. I think in Iraq or Iran. But we've had no-fly zones before, and it's the same thing. It's kind of like the countries. It's like they'll either have war games or they'll put their naval ships, or they'll declare no-fly zones, and it's kind of like a chess match. It's kind of like you put your pieces over there and you threaten another piece, and that's a big thing. But I don't think it leads. I mean, it could lead to a war, but I don't think so. I don't think we would go to war over a no-fly zone in Syria. I mean, I just can't. It is possible, but I just don't think so, because we've had no-fly zones before, and it didn't lead us into war. You know.
Right. Well, everybody else's opinion is well, one, I don't agree with interfering with other countries to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not our problem unless if we're being directly attacked. It's not our problem. So,
but I mean,
when Russia's in Syria,
but we've pretty much been involved in the Middle East since
2005, 2004, 2005,
and
somewhere
I think
around there.
maybe even earlier than that. I think we've been. I mean, like Desert Storm was
2002.
Late 2002. I thought it was late 90s.
Oh,
Desert Storm. I'd have to look it up, but I mean, we've been involved in the Middle East for a long time, and I mean, it all comes down to the only reason why we're there in the Middle East is because of oil. You know, I mean, what the fuck else is there in the desert? You got sand and you got oil. That's about it. And a lot of fantastic archaeological discoveries that were bombed by the ISIL. I mean, a lot of actually really fantastic statues were destroyed by Muslim extremists. So
by
we've
yeah, by
lost
the
that.
religious nuts.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, other than that, there's nothing. There's nothing in the Middle East. There's nothing else in the Middle East. There's no
Yeah,
gold.
there's no profit. Exactly, except for the oil, and that's another reason why I don't like Trump, is because he's a money man, because he is that business guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he sees money in things that is worth something. Trump might try to sneak in to the Middle East for more oil. Try to undermine everybody. Which again could lead to, you know, America even more.
Well, we might get more involved in the Middle East, especially like Syria, but I don't know if it'll lead to war. I mean, essentially, we went to war with the terrorism when 9/11 happened. Basically, they declared war on us, and that's one thing that I think some people forget is that you know people try to say that America is the one that is pushing it, and I don't see it that way. I think that once 9/11 happened, once we were attacked, essentially that was an act of war. You don't just attack a country and nothing happens, you know? And I think that that's one of the,
Especially with one with a military power like ours.
well, yeah, I mean, any country really. I mean, you know, it doesn't matter if they're, I mean, yeah, if it's a military might, like the United States or China or Russia, yeah, you definitely don't do that. But I mean, what my point is that people don't understand that it's not really us going against the terrorists as much as the terrorists attacked us, you know?
Right.
And I think people forget that. And especially like when I hear people talking about people who are becoming anti-Muslim or racist, it's like, no, first of all, Muslims are not a race. There are very many different races who are Muslim. Muslim, the thing that we're really fighting against is an ideology. It's the ideology.
An extreme ideology.
Right. Exactly. But it's a very dangerous ideology. We are not attacking or it's not the culture, it's not the race, it's not even the
religion itself.
It's not even Islam, really. It's not even Islam. It's the ideology of extreme of Islam. It's really bad. But anyhow.
But yeah, what did you Hillary? Like a lot of I haven't really gotten any perspective on that about the Hillary part.
Honestly,
it was always the Trump
supporters
supporters I heard more from.
I didn't like Hillary either. No, she wasn't Trump.
Oh, Trump.
She wasn't Trump. Yeah, she wasn't drunk. Yeah, that's why I voted for her, because she wasn't
that
drunk.
That too.
No, but I mean, if you look at Hillary, I mean, she's just she knows how to work politics. She's a politician. Politicians know how to get things done. They know how to work the system. They have to be connected, and Hillary's definitely one of those people who's connected. But I don't think you can really trust her. I think she would make a whole bunch of promises that wouldn't come to be. And I mean, that's just like any other politician. So I mean, that's why it was just like, for me, I just didn't want Trump to win. I didn't really care. I mean, he could have been running up against a broom, and I would have voted for the broom. You know, make a clean sweep for America. Vote for the broom.
I think you're just more biased broom because you're pagan.
Huh? I didn't hear that. What?
Bias for the broom because
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yep. Make America great again. Vote for the Bessem.
I seen you were on Twitter a lot.
Yes. So who did you vote for? Oh, you didn't vote. That's right.
I didn't vote.
No, now
I couldn't bring myself to it.
now that's the logic I don't understand. Why did you just not vote?
I was actually thinking about voting green this year,
Mm-hmm.
but then I actually looked into to Dr. Stein. She was just an off the wall feminist. And I said, all right, what about libertarian? Be better. Gotta be. So I'm sitting here, third party. Let's see if I can do, let's see if I, what's his name? Johnson? Yeah, Johnson. Just as bad as Stein. I mean, they had good points, don't get me wrong. But I feel that if one of them were in office, that would have been bad. That would have been bad for, logical people. But I couldn't vote for Trump because I already know he's a corrupt businessman. Thinking about politics, Trump is automatically, when I heard he was running for president, I was like, yeah, right. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. There's no way he's running for president. Look what just happened an hour ago. And then Hillary, all of her voting in on NAFTA, if you want to talk about corrupt politics, look no further than the Clinton family. I mean, there are reasons to vote. You voted because you didn't want Trump in. Perfectly viable reason. Me, I'm just going to sit back and watch the world burn in whatever way it's going to burn.
Yeah. Now, did you just not vote for the presidency, but you voted for everything else, or did you just completely not vote for anything? Because I'm sure you probably had other legislation on your ballot in your state and stuff like that.
Yeah, there was a being voted for my state this year, and
But I mean, did you vote for those? Did you vote for propositions and all that stuff?
per se, I was voting for what was her name now again? Ugh, it's too early in the morning. She's she was a Wisconsin candidate this year. She seemed to have her head in the right place. She's kind of like Bernie. She was kind of like Bernie in a sense, to have better health care, better education, better wages. I mean, I'm a millennial. I hate to use that word. It's unfortunate. So and I started school. And I'm already didn't even start. I start school next week. So that was pretty much the only thing I voted for this. And I'm not looking forward to the governor election. I think my governor election's in 2 years. Yeah, the governor election is 2 years from now. I'm really not looking forward to that because the last governor election was just a shithole.
Mm.
I try to remain local. I try to remain local.
I'm trying to see which thing I'm using. I'm wondering if I'm using this microphone or if I'm using the camera one.
There is a bit of an echo.
Okay. Let me see microphone. Let me see if this. Oops. Let me see. Does that sound? How do I sound now? Do you hear this? Do you hear that?
I didn't hear nothing.
Okay. Do you hear this?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's this mic is picking it up, and I want this one to be picking it up. Let's see if I can change that.
Lucky you, Zora. Zora.
What's she saying?
Cannabis. She says cannabis is now legal in Nevada.
Oh, okay.
Lucky her. It's still criminalized here in Wisconsin. Like, you get 5 years.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but that'll change.
Wisconsin, I don't think so.
It will eventually. The only thing
within my lifetime.
The only thing that pisses me off is Zabora. If you do, don't walk down the street and smoke it, please. out here in San Francisco, it's legal, and people walk down the street and smoke it. It drives me nuts.
Just don't like the smell.
It's the equivalent of like you walking by somebody who's drinking a beer, and as you walk by, they sprinkle some on you. It's the same thing. You know, it's like I don't want to smell it.
That.
Yeah. I remember one time I was going to a job interview and I'm walking down the street and these guys are smoking right in front of me and I'm like, oh shit, I don't want to go in this job interview smelling like pot.
Right? No, you're not getting hired.
So I'm like, okay. So I cross on the other side of the street. And I used to joke with my friends because you see all these kids, because I mean it's legal, but only for medical use. But
cool.
you can get a cannabis card. You have to have a cannabis card, and you can go into places and you can get whatever they have, all these different types of pot and all this. If you have like anxiety or depression or cancer or HIV or all these various things. And one of them obviously is cataracts because smoking pot is good for your cataracts. And so I was joking with my friends. I was like, they legalized pot, and all these poor 18-year-old kids come down with cataracts.
Got cataracts. I actually do qualify medically for medical marijuana over in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
I don't smoke pot, though. I only smoke cigarettes.
But medical marijuana is not legal in your state?
It's still criminalized. It's still a class 1.
Oh, okay.
So that's time.
Okay.
And that's time. And even a simple little seed will get you, time in the slammer. It's horrible. I wouldn't mind it being at least decriminalized in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is actually the prison state of the United States. We have like half the population from you, but 3 times as many prisoners.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, that's sad, and most of them are drug offense.
So do you hear this?
There you go.
You hear that?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I switched mics.
All
Oh, that's
right.
crazy.
You figured it out.
I figured it out. That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, the prison system too is just getting it's getting too much. One of the problems with especially the prison system, in my opinion, is if you commit a felony crime, basically if you get out of jail, it is your chances of getting a job are reduced drastically to like, it's, I don't even know the actual statistics, but there's so many jobs that you cannot get if you commit a felony. You can get like certain jobs.
Right.
You can only get certain jobs if you are a felon. And that's something that we need to change, because what it does is it turns into this thing where somebody gets charged with a felony, and basically once they get charged with a felony, chances are they're going to go back to committing crime again, because they can't make money any other way, you know? And then it just turns into a revolving door, and now we got this 3 strikes and you're outlaw. And
out there in California, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I think that was federal.
No, so here in Wisconsin, it's you commit a felony, non-violent offenses, so drug offenses, burglary, anything that's non-violent, is you do your time, you get out, you do some time on parole or probation or whatever. If you fuck up during that time, you go back in, and then it's just, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Mm-hmm. With violent offenders, it depends on the offense. Like murderers here in Wisconsin don't get out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They don't get out. But sexual offenders, for the most part, depending on the degree, some stay in, but the majority get out. I think is kind of dumb.
Oops.
But it's still just door for the most part. It's you go in, you get out, you got this label on your head, and now everybody hates you.
Yeah, well, so, but let's see what. Oh, Zabora, she's in Nevada. She says it's legal there.
Yeah, recreational use.
Yeah. I think they should just do that with all drugs. They should just do it. They should just legalize all drugs. Because it would cut back. Yeah, I mean, why not? What's keeping people from doing drugs right now?
Right. Well, I want to say legalize. I mean, drug. Like pot. Yes, legalize it, tax it. I think Colorado actually has a better economy thanks to the legalization of pot and the taxation of pot.
Yeah,
they got
exactly.
a better economy. But for drugs like meth, I wouldn't say legalize meth, because that'll kill you. That'll kill you.
Well, it's killing people now.
Exactly, but make it, decriminalize it. Don't send the person to prison. Don't send the person to jail. Get them help. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's like meth or crack or something like that, get them help. Send them away. But then again, don't make it available.
Well, the thing is, though, if you legalize it, first of all, what you can do is you can then control it. Once you control it, you can also make sure that it's pure, You also have the ability to, in the sense of crack and meth and heroin and meth, crack, heroin, cocaine, even, well, yeah, PCP. Most of the street drugs, if you legalize it and control it, what you can also do is you can make sure that it's always the same quantity and quality. And also, you know what it's cut with, how it's made, what's in it. You have all those stuff. And that in itself will reduce the risk of death, overdose, and infection and stuff like that. So legalizing drugs is actually a good idea. And then you tax it and you use that money to create rehabilitation centers so that the people who are on crack and heroin who get addicted to it have a place to go. right now people are getting addicted to crack, heroin, and meth, and you know, they're doing the same thing, but there's
Right.
just but the money is coming out of somewhere else. It's coming out of like money that could go for housing or could go for prevention or whatever. And also, like in the case of heroin, what you can do is you can have somebody who's used to a certain dose, like a certain small dose, right? And they're always using the same dose. And then maybe after a couple of years, their dose goes higher, whatever. But then if they get a hold of some heroin that's like really pure and really good, and they use that same dose, they overdose and they die. Or like we had in San Francisco back in my day, I didn't do heroin, but I knew people who did do heroin. There was this bad black tar heroin that was going around,
Oh,
and people were getting sick from it because it was really bad. I forget exactly what it was, but a lot of people were dying. A lot of people were, like the whole, word spread out on the street about it because it was really bad. And stuff, legalizing it also prevents stuff like that from happening. Yeah, it might have been opium. Maybe it was opium? I'm not too sure if it was, because I know heroin and opium are very similar. It might have been. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember because I wasn't involved, but I knew people who did shoot. Because also back then, in my day, you didn't have, like now they have needle exchange. So you can go
right.
in and
Yeah.
you can get clean needles. Back in the early 80s, mid 80s, they didn't have needle exchange. So basically people were buying needles or they were reusing needles, which is not good.
Yeah.
You don't want to use dull needles, and you don't want to use needles that somebody else used. Like there was people who would just sell needles. They would get them through, people who were had them or stole them or whatever. But that was another thing, was getting clean needles. Now that they have needle exchange, that's helped. Yeah, that also helped prevent spread of HIV.
Right. Yeah, we got needle exchange up here, especially for the where I live at. Meth is a very, very prominent drug, and a lot of them, they shoot it up instead of smoking it, or and yeah, apparently there's so many ways to take meth.
Yep.
But the common way up here is shooting it up. The second most common is smoking it, and you can tell the ones who smoke it too is because, like, I have bad teeth, but that's because I drink coffee and I smoke cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of mine.
Yep.
It's like, dude, you need help. You need to get, you need to stop. And it's like, it's always constant up here too. Like me, my drug of choice is booze. Like I love my booze. I can't get enough of my booze. I don't have any booze. Wish I had booze, but I'm not an alcoholic. Stupid class.
I know somebody. I know somebody who shot alcohol. Yep, they took. I forget if it was vodka or what's it called? If it was vodka or Everclear, but they they shot alcohol, and they didn't. I don't know. I can't remember if it was vodka or Everclear or what they shot, but yeah, I know. I couldn't believe it, and they lived.
At Everclear, like just taking like one shot of Everclear, just one.
Yes.
That, but like the phrase up here is Everclear is like a fine woman. It'll take your breath away.
It does.
10 shots of that, I'm the happiest man in the world. Nothing can phase me. Nothing can phase me. I'm sitting there laughing, giggling, having a good time. 10 shots. 10. That's good. It takes about 3 times as much whiskey to get me in that level.
Yeah, but no, John Belushi died from an 8-ball.
Really?
Yeah, she's asking about it. Yeah, she was asking. She said, shooting alcohol, didn't John Candy? Oh, John Candy. I don't know. Maybe John Candy did, but I know that John Belushi died from an 8-ball overdose.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how John Candy died. I can't remember. It could have been.
John Candy is.
It could have been. Do people shoot cocaine?
I can tell you right now, I was on cocaine when I was younger. I was working a full-time job, going to school full-time, getting only 2 hours of sleep every night. So I started using cocaine. I never heard of any way. I mean, maybe you lace it into your pot, but that's the only other way that I have ever heard. I've never heard of somebody shooting up coke.
I think there's a reason why people don't shoot it. Why they they would snort it, because it would go into the veins quicker. This was like in the in the 70s, before crack cocaine became part of it. But then they figured out a way to smoke cocaine, with whatever they do to it to make it more quickly come into the system. That's why people smoke it now. But man, I've seen, because especially in the place I work here in the Tenderloin, you see people who are addicted to crack, and they're like, I've seen like people literally on their hands and knees with a stick going through the cracks of a sidewalk looking for a little rock. I mean, it's sad. You see a grown man on his hands and knees with a stick looking for a rock. It's like it's scary.
We call them carpet munchers.
We call carpet munchers something different here.
Yeah, I know. But up here in Wisconsin, carpet muncher goes both ways. But when we refer to that person, the tweaker,
yeah,
and looks on the carpet because they lost a rock or something, we call them carpet munchers.
Yeah.
Oh, there he goes, munching carpet again.
It's Zabora says carpet munchers are lesbian.
I know, Zabora. I know.
And straight guys. And gay guys if they get desperate. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I like munch on carpets a little sometimes.
Hey, you should ask Zabora if she wants to join us. Looks like she's the only person here. Zabora, you want to join us?
Come on, change your mind. That was the she was the other person I wanted to come on.
Oh, she didn't want to.
Yeah, she said maybe next time.
Oh, okay, all
Did you
right.
change your mind? Change your mind
Oh,
yet?
now she
Oh, she
says
said sure. All right.
sure. Okay, good. We can give her the third degree. Ask her who she voted for, and why. I think she voted for Hillary.
All right.
Now Zabor is a hardcore Trump supporter.
All right. I think I had to send it through Google Plus. I don't think you got a Twitter yet, do you? No. Oh, shut up. Shut up. Not that.
This is a pantsless Joe.
Love her response.
So fuck yourself. I think that was over the Trump comments.
How do I invite individual people here? I'm getting it. I'm getting it. I got it. I got it.
You got it? Oh, good. How did you do it? Are you inviting them from the chat?
No,
Oh,
I'm
oh, okay. And she also did a
because
video on My Pagan Symbol. She got that started.
that I seen
Did you
that
see that?
was good. I laughed. I laughed when she held up her tarot cards, and she says, "I know you crazy Christians are just going to start calling Illuminati." I died. I almost fell out of my chair. Like, oh my god, I gotta use that. All right, Zabor, I sent it to the Google Plus for you. Hope.
Oh, you sent it to her?
Because I don't know if she's got a Twitter. I couldn't find her on Twitter.
I don't know either. Where is she? Zabora, do you have Twitter? She might not have Twitter. Did you send it to her on Google Plus?
Yeah, I got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, her and I follow each other on Google Plus.
Oh, okay, all right.
And that's another thing. Everybody keeps shitting on Google Plus. Google Plus is actually kind of fun.
What do you do with it?
It's basically like a mix of Twitter, Instagram. Well, not really Instagram, but like I use it for like all my like fanboy shit. My Star Wars, my Magic the Gathering, my D&D, my anime stuff, all my TV shows. Keep in touch with everything like that. I only made my Twitter account for YouTube. To be completely honest, so it was just like, you know what? I gotta get one.
It's all I do with Twitter either. I mean, every so often I send some little tweet or something, but I don't know. I don't think it's really like, because I tried to get into a conversation with somebody about like, you know, like talking about like white privilege and how, you know, complicated things like that, and you're limited to 120 characters. And so I'm trying to like type out like, like explaining to somebody why I don't believe I have privilege. And explaining this in 120 characters is it's impossible. I mean, because it's complex. You have to explain, well, first of all, I struggled all my life. I grew up poor. I am not privileged. And that's how I see it. There are certain levels of privilege. Your skin tone is not one of them.
Well,
That's just the way it is.
the one I was like myself. You know, I was homeless for 7 years. Where was my privilege then? You know, get free handouts from anyone. It was oh, you're a homeless bum. Get a job. Start with your life. It was that constantly. It's like if I had a job, get a job. Don't you think I'd have a job? No, I was homeless since I was 17 years old.
Right. And the thing with pushing this whole privilege narrative is it's like trying to win a race by forcing somebody else to go backwards. Hey, Zabora.
Hey, can you guys hear me? Sorry, I'm trying to get set up here.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I had to test my headphones. I had to change them out.
Did you put on pants?
Yeah, I did. I had to put on pants. I couldn't be running around in my underwear here.
Well, I'm not.
Make me get dressed.
I'm not wearing pants, but I'm not going to show you either. So.
I have Batman.
I'm not wearing pants in a single one of my videos. I hate them. They're like prisons.
Pants prison.
Pretty much.
So Zabora, who did you vote for? Like we don't know.
I actually did not vote for the president. I only voted for the local and state election. I did not fill out a presidential election.
Oh, so it's your fault too.
Oh, it's totally my fault. It's not like the electoral college votes for us or anything like that, right? Stupid thing. Sorry, still trying to get this stupid thing to sit right. All right, there we go.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you voted for everything else, right?
Oh hell yeah! I voted for local. I voted for state. I voted for that kind of stuff. But in my opinion, the electoral college is the one who decides the presidency. So what matters is the local and state, and then those people are the ones that become the electoral college, and they're the ones that vote. So I've got my Democratic in, for the next 4 years. So we'll see how that goes. So.
Mm-hmm. But if the majority of the people vote for one candidate, doesn't that influence the electoral vote?
That's how it's supposed to go. But
Right.
Me sitting here telling you that, say Mad Witch is my candidate here, and we want him in. Well, the Electoral College is supposed to listen to me and say, yeah, the people want Mad Witch, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to listen to us. And in today's, mindset of me first, they're going to do what's best for them. They're not going to maybe do what's best for what the people want. So that's my opinion, though.
Yeah,
that seems to be as well.
Well, unfortunately,
Yeah,
I have this philosophy that if you don't vote, you can't bitch if your candidate doesn't win. So.
Right, but my candidate didn't even run the primary, so I've been bitching. I've been bitching since Bernie dropped,
Oh, you were a Bernie supporter, huh?
I was too.
I'm young.
See, I was not. I did not. This is honestly, this is what I wanted. I did not want Trump. I did not want Bernie. I know my people are going to hate me for that, but I did not want Bernie, and I really didn't even want Hillary. But Hillary was like the less of the three, in my opinion. But no, Bernie. I think Bernie is a wonderful guy who really wants to change the world, but he would not have been able to get anything done. They would have been he would have been just roadblocked everywhere.
I
You
agree,
know.
and that's because he was a self-claimed socialist, and this is a
Yep.
capitalist country, so that would have never happened. You got to tell people to share; they're going to slap you in the face and tell you mine. That's what America is. He had a lot of great ideas I would have loved to see implemented, but there's no way it would have happened in today's society.
Yeah.
No way.
He wouldn't have
Exactly.
been able to negotiate his way into the bathroom in Washington D.C. They just would have blocked him all the way. He wouldn't have been able to do anything. So
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't have been able to do anything. They would have put up roadblocks, like you said. But I think he had a lot of great ideas that I would have loved to see. Now, I'm really kind of interested in see what Trump is going to do with gay marriage, because that kind of sets the precedence for civil rights. So let's
but
see what happens with that.
But isn't that pretty much already set?
Right, but as the president, he has the ability to say that the states can go ahead and ignore the Supreme Court and implement their own ideas on marriage and who should get married and who can't get married. Now, as a woman in an interracial relationship, if they say gays can't get married, what's to stop them from saying people in interracial relationships can't get married, or only white people can marry white people, or anything like that. So
do you honestly think it would go, not the gay marriage part?
I
honestly
don't
believe
think it would. No, I don't think it would go that far, but it sets it up for the next asshole to come along and change it. So
right, just the sheer bigotry.
Yeah. And what makes you think that he's going to, I guess, veto or dissolve? I mean, why do you think that he's going to go after gay marriage?
Oh, he's already said that his stance on gay marriage is that states should decide what they believe should be right and not go with a Supreme Court ruling. Donald Trump has been very adamant about being anti-gay marriage in a federal sense. So I'm just going by what he has said. I don't think he's going to build a wall either, but these are things that he has put forth as his political views.
See, I just think that because when I listen to these, I mean, basically these people are telling people what they want to hear, so they will elect them. That's what they do.
Right.
Hillary's the same way. She makes all these promises and all this stuff, but when she actually gets into office, she doesn't do all that stuff. Same thing with Trump. I think, first of all, I'm not a Trump supporter. I think he's an idiot, selfish, but I think he said all these things to get elected. I don't think he really cares. To be quite honest, I don't think he cares about gay marriage. But
well, there was a saying. There's a saying between a lot of hardcore that were here on YouTube saying, "Finally, someone with balls," because he was spoken during his run, and he was very, very adamant, very passionate about all of his speeches, and it was because of that pseudo charisma, because that's what it was. I wasn't falling for the bullshit, but charisma that were drawn to him, and it was because of, like you said, the things that he was saying that people wanted to hear. That's what people like to hear. Associated with that particular party, that's how they thought to begin with.
Oh, definitely. Well, every candidate does that. Every candidate's done that since the beginning. They're going to say what they want to say until they get the nomination. So the only thing that we can do as Americans is wait and see what happens over the next 100 days.
Right. And I know there's a growing contingency of LGBT Republicans. And I don't think that he would go against them. Especially a guy named Milo Milo Yiannopoulos. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he really
Yiannopoulos?
pushed. Yeah. What Mad Witch said. That guy. he was really pushing to get the gay Republican vote out, and so I think that one of the reasons why Trump probably won is because that, and also a lot of people who were not, you would not consider to be Republican, became Republican during this election. At least that's my opinion.
Right.
I don't really have anything to back that up. I don't have any numbers. I'm just going by what I've been seeing. But I think I don't know. I mean, he might, but I think that if he did, I think there would be a lot of people who would rise up and protest that, and I don't think that it would last.
It's like Mad Witch said, the people who voted, for Trump were enthusiastic about their candidate.
Right.
Most people voted for Hillary just didn't want Trump in the office.
Right.
So there's a difference right there. Trump supporters, they believe in their candidate. Hillary supporters just don't want Trump in. So that, I think, was a deciding factor with this election, if you can even call it that. That was kind of the thing, was people were happy that Trump didn't sound like a politician. He didn't go around talking about how he was going to do all this stuff. He basically said he was just going to rape everyone. And the American people were like, yeah, let's do that. I think South Park did a great job, covering the election. They had Mr. Garrison just talking about how he was gonna, have sex with everyone to death. He was gonna fuck them all to death, and that's pretty much been Trump's campaign. His entire reason for getting elected was that speech of, screw everyone, America first.
Right.
I still want to know why he even ran to begin with. Totally honest.
Definitely for the celebrity status. I mean, he was, you have what was it, the Apprentice or whatever, was going downhill, and he's definitely, like Logan said, it's all about the money with him. He's going to do whatever is best for him and his companies, and his companies are doing so well. So
yeah.
We'll see. You guys are going to have to excuse me for a minute. I need to go get something to drink.
Yeah, go ahead. I don't think there's anybody watching us anyway, so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's already here. So I'm pretty sure everybody's asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, what are you doing up so late anyway?
Until like 10 o'clock in the morning. To bed until like 10 o'clock in the morning.
Oh. So you... What time do you usually get to bed?
About 10 in the morning. And then I wake up around in the afternoon.
What do you work late or something? You work late or something?
Actually, I just lost my job not too long ago.
Oh, that sucks. What were you doing?
At Arby's. At Arby's.
Oh, Arby's. Okay.
Yeah.
What's it like in Wisconsin? Are there a lot of places to get jobs out there, or is it pretty sparse?
Where I'm at, jobs are pretty scarce. The jobs are actually in bigger cities. It sucks that I don't have a car. I don't drive. Spend $34 for a bus ticket to the nearest city today.
Wow.
And the closest city to me is like an hour and a half away.
Wow. Yeah, so you need to get a car.
I don't even know how to drive. I've never even learned how to drive.
Oh. Because I live I live in a big city. I live in San Francisco, and it's like, I mean, I can walk everywhere pretty much, and then we have a great bus system out here. But if you're out in the middle of nowhere, I mean, that's really difficult to get around. You definitely have to have a car. Like if I lived in LA, I would have to have a car. You know.
Oh, really?
There's LA. The Los Angeles public transportation system sucks. And anybody who's lived in LA knows that. You have to have a car if you live in LA. But like like where you live in Wisconsin, I'm sure you have to have a car. It's just the way it is.
Not really. I live in a really small town. I mean, it literally takes you from one city to the next. It literally takes you an hour to walk across. An hour.
Oh, okay.
You know, I used to, when I was working, I was walking back and forth from work every day, and I loved it. Hey, you want to ride? And it's like, no, it's pouring outside. There's a tsunami going on. You want to ride? I got my umbrella, hood up, everything. No, I'm fine. That was my chill time before and after work.
Yeah.
Just enough time to chill before I go in and get off. And then enough time to come back home, walk back home, have a couple cigarettes, mellow out from all the stress, sit down at my computer, Xbox, pour myself some whiskey, chillax for a couple hours, go to bed, rinse, repeat.
Rinse and repeat.
That was my life. That was my life for a while.
And what about you, Sabor? You live in Nevada?
I do. I live in Reno. We're a relatively large city for Nevada. The only other one is Las Vegas, obviously. Our public transportation isn't too terrible. It's about every half hour to an hour, depending on which bus route you're on. But my husband, it only takes him like a half hour to go to work, and we live 2 blocks from a major grocery store, Winco. We've got like 10 restaurants a block away, so we don't really have a car. We don't go anywhere. Breathe, Mad, breathe.
I know, really.
Don't die on
it. And so do you guys? You guys pretty much get around by car? Okay, you all right? So you guys get around by car or by bus most of the time?
Most of the time it's bus. The only time that I'm ever in a car is when I go to Costco and I get a ride. And you know, that's like in the other side of town compared to where we're at. We're more towards the northern end of Reno. But yeah, we're pretty close to major shopping. We're close to restaurants. And our bus system, it's not terrible. I think the worst thing that's ever happened is someone pulled out a pellet gun and shot at a bus. So, I mean, I've seen a guy get bricked in the head too at the bus station, but it's usually like after night when the sun goes down during the summertime. That's usually the only time you have to worry. But during the wintertime, people just chill out for some reason.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I've been to Reno and I've been to Nevada. It's nice out there, but I mean, I've never lived out there.
It's a lot of desert.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. You know, I worship the Egyptian gods, so desert gods.
Right. It works out perfectly for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up most of my life was spent in Bend, Oregon, Central Oregon. So it pretty much looks the exact same here as it does in Central Oregon, just a little cleaner and not as much meth. But yeah, it's pretty much the exact same. We're not doing too bad out here. It's a couple sketchy areas that we just avoid.
Right.
But,
Right.
yeah, it's not terrible where we're at. So.
Oh, that's good. Do you know who David Griffin is? David Griffin?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. He's like there was a split in the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn a long time ago, and he's supposed. Well, anyhow, there's politics around it, but he's supposed to be like one of the people who restarted the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and they have a temple. I think it's either in Las Vegas or Reno, but they have a lot of Egyptian symbolism in their temple. I was just wondering if you were affiliated with them or knew about them.
No, no, I don't. I don't think I know about that. I don't think I've already heard anything about that. But I know that the Temple of Sekhmet is in, I think it's Henderson, but it's like right outside of Vegas. And yeah, the Hermetics, they use a lot of Egyptian symbolism because they drew from a lot of Jewish teachings, and you do have the Hebrews who spent quite a bit of time in Egypt. So a lot of things have been drawn from that. So.
Okay, cool. So Mad's with us again. He didn't die.
Yeah.
Damn it! Oh no, that hurt. That seriously hurt.
Would you do? Inhale a Cheerio?
I have some hamburger helper here, and one of the pieces of meat was just like a little too big, and I wanted to and say something, which I forgot what I wanted to say now.
Because you choked.
And choking. So remember, kids, chew your food.
Yes, exactly. Words of wisdom. Yeah, emo girl says the meatball got stuck in his throat. It was too big.
Yeah, that's my girlfriend. That's
your
my girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Hey, are you on Facebook, Mad?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Some people found me and kept on making false accounts and kept on harassing me. So it was just like, I can't.
Don't let the haters get you down.
Yeah, I know, really.
It wasn't haters. It was actually people from around here.
Oh, okay.
And I just didn't want anything to do with them. And they kept on making false accounts. I already got enough drama on YouTube. I don't need drama in my real life.
Oh. Well,
right.
Yeah, all right. Well, I think I'm friends with your girlfriend though, Emo. Is she on Facebook?
She is on Facebook. Hold on, let me
Yeah, because the only reason why I ask is just so because Zabora Loki's Witch is going to be joining me and Mad on Sundays, and so I was just gonna so that like we could talk easier. Because I'm friends with Loki's Witch on Facebook, and then if I was friends with you too on Facebook, we could communicate. But I could communicate with your girlfriend if she's on Facebook too.
Yeah, she's on Facebook.
Okay. I think I'm friends with her.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, you are, because a message before, of course, drama. Yes. And I seen your picture up.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, I'm like, dude.
Okay. I think I am.
Well, I sent you a message, Lilokin, on Facebook about joining you guys on your chats occasionally, which apparently I'm doing now. But I think my husband is stalking you as well on Facebook. I think he's following you, but I don't know if you got my message or not. Sometimes Facebook's funny about that.
I'm looking at it. I don't see it here.
I think it's under other messages. You have to click on something else. I couldn't find it for the longest time. Somebody else had to tell me how to do it, but I can't operate technology all that well.
Okay. I think.
Don't worry, we're all learning here.
I know, really.
I got electrocuted tonight. Electricity and I are not compatible, okay? I still got the burn marks on my fingers. So.
Dang it. I think I'm looking through my friends list here. I think so. You probably go by a different name though, right?
Oh yeah, that's actually my birth name that I messaged you on.
Okay. So did we recently become friends?
I don't know if I actually even hit a friend request. I think I just messaged you. I didn't want to be all fangirling.
Oh my god! I actually forgot how I found my Logan. I forgot how I found you. It was in YouTube. It was in YouTube. I remember that.
I think it was some video that I did, and then you just commented on it, and then I think so. I don't know. I think there's like big YouTubers who I think like sort of celebrity, not really celebrities, but like quasi celebrities. But like people in the pagan community, I don't really consider them to be like celebrities. You know what I mean? Like none of us have any subscribers more than like, I don't know, like 20,000 or something. Yeah.
I think Lady Graveyard, she's got like 26,000, and I'm not sure about Ember Honeyraven. I know she had a lot of subscribers, but she's been going through some personal things, so she doesn't have her videos up anymore. But I don't think there's really anybody bigger than that. Maybe Charming Pixie Florida from a couple years ago, but you know, that's all gone now too. So, but I can
so we don't really get like a big following. I'm thinking like, you know, like I think after you have like more than 100,000 followers, then like I don't know, then maybe you can start walking around like your shit don't stink. But
that's because YouTube sends you a nice, pretty little piece of metal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
I wouldn't mind having that nice little pretty piece of metal. Ain't going to happen. I wouldn't mind it though.
In your future.
Yep.
Well, I think I think Matt and I, we connected on G+. We had actually talked on G+. I think we're part of a couple forums or something, and then we just kind of, you know, chatted it up since then. But you know, hey, you know, connections, they happen all over the place. So I'm not too big on Facebook though. I'm really happy with Facebook.
Yeah, I'm a member of a couple of I'm an admin in one Facebook group, so I actually enjoy that one. That one's YouTube Pagans. That one was started by Annika.
Mm-hmm.
The Sea Priestess. Yeah. And that one's a pretty good group. People who seem to get along with each other there. Nobody really gets into petty. You know how people get into these petty things like, you're not a real witch, or you know, or why do you use that herb instead of this one? But for the most part, people seem to get along on that one. But I've heard some horror stories about like certain groups where people just like go at each other.
I haven't seen that, but I'm only part of one, so.
Yeah, well, I was a part of a couple, but you know, I mean, like the whole Gardenarians. They have their own little. It's funny, no matter what group it is, if a group gets to a certain size, it starts to fracture, and you have like groups that start breaking into smaller groups, and then they attack the other group, and it's the same thing with Gardenarians. And so there's this one Facebook group that I could not become a part of because my line wasn't recognized, and so I raised a big fuss about it. I said, look, I need to get into this group, and I I really made a fuss about it. And then I finally get into the group, and I'm like, meh. I'm like, I don't really like this group.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, and then after that, the group just kind of like started slowly collapsing. But it's just stupid. It's like this politics.
I never really actually understood that argument that the whole "you're not a real witch." It's like that just made no sense to me.
Yeah, like as if one group has the copyright on the word witch. It's ridiculous.
It is. It is. Well, the thing with oh, we're live, aren't we?
Yeah.
But the thing with the Gardnerians, it's not so much that you're not a real witch as much as it is that there's other things that come up, like, that make you a true in lineage, in the line of Gardner. Because supposedly, if you're a Gardnerian, your line goes all the way, it can be traced all the way back to Gardner. That's why you call yourself a Gardnerian. And Alexandrian, they can trace their line all the way back to Alexander, to either Maxine or Alex Sanders. But in the Gardnerian line, some of them, one line, well, maybe, I'm not going to say, but there are some people that believe that some other people who are of certain lines are not valid for whatever reason. And so it's not so much that you're not a witch as much as it is that you're not really of the line. For some reason, there's something that doesn't quite make you a Gardnerian, and so but I mean, it's the same thing. It's just as stupid as any other thing, somebody claiming you're not a witch.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, I'm okay with not being Wiccan. That's not my religion.
Right.
But for you to sit there and tell me I'm not a witch because I'm not Wiccan,
right?
That's where it comes up.
which I know that a long time ago people used to actually say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think actually Buckland, with the whole cursing Brock Turner, I think he brought it up that real witches don't use curses, but I'm not sure if he was using the term witch instead of Wiccan.
Right.
Because he is, that old school mindset.
Right.
But, that kind of stirred a lot of the fluff bunnies up into saying only Wiccans can be witches. I've been accused of that. It was hilarious. This guy accused me of not being a real witch because I wasn't Wiccan. And he was the one who said that he had finished his year in a day study early. So I got accused by practicing.
He took the speed course.
A year and a day. He passed his year and a day.
Study early.
He did it in his defense. He did it in a leap year, so it was only 365 days.
Longer.
Oh yeah, you're right. It would make it longer.
Yeah, he's a Bible thumper because I didn't believe that he was the last in the elite line of witches, and I didn't worship the ground he walks on, so therefore I'm not a real witch,
Right.
All right, go burn somebody at the stake, have fun with that. I'm not going to sit here and be subject to your stupidity.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember like on Witch Fox, because there were before the internet really became a big thing. There were like, you'd go on AOL and there would be chat rooms, and you can go into these chat rooms and there would be like, Wiccan and witch chat rooms, pagan chat rooms and stuff like that. And I remember then seeing a couple of fights come up where Wiccans were not recognizing people who were not Wiccan. So what it was there were people who were taking a position that the only way that you could be a Wiccan witch is if you were initiated. And there was a lot of people who were not initiated, but they still identified with witchcraft. They wanted to practice witchcraft, and they felt drawn to it, and they felt that what they did was a form of witchcraft. And so there was this battle, another bullshit battle about, like, well, the only way that you could become a quote-unquote witch was if you were initiated. And so this started this fracture there, where you had people who were initiated and people who were not initiated. And I think nowadays it's kind of funny. I've noticed that now it's taking this other flip, where people who are witches are now saying that people who are Wiccan are not witches. So it's kind of like a complete 180-degree turn.
Well, there's only so long that you can accuse another party of being something before they flip out on you.
Right.
So, if you identify as Wiccan, that's great. If you identify as a lineaged Gardnerian or another lineaged Wiccan tradition, that's great. Not for me personally, and for someone to say Wicca is the only way,
right,
kind of really, doesn't take into account the rest of the world. You're living in your little bubble at that point, because you're just talking about European witchcraft. You're not talking about Africa and their giant history of witchcraft. You're not talking about South America and their history. You're not talking about the Native Americans, or people from Asia. You have China, Buddhism, Japan. It's all huge over there, and their religion incorporates into their culture quite seamlessly. But most people who practice Wicca come from a Western mindset, and that means European witchcraft.
Right.
So, if you're going to live in your bubble, that's fine, but don't get mad when I come around and pop it,
Right. But I think that it is important to make sure that we use the correct terms. Like, I would consider, like, let's say, Voodoo, Santeria, what's it called? A brew, like,
Bruja.
Yeah, Bruja. But there was,
Bruja.
I think it's from South America or something. But I mean, anyhow, I would not consider those witchcraft. I would consider those a magical practice. So I don't really consider Voodoo to be witchcraft. They don't call it witchcraft. They call it Voodoo. They call it what their term is. You know what I mean? So I think that there's
Voodoo is a spiritual religion. You work with the spirits, you work with the ancestors, you work with God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you have the magical practice of hoodoo. Right. And hoodoo is a magical practice. Now, I believe that the term, witchcraft is European in origin. But the word bruja and bruja mean witch. That our English equivalent of that is witch. Right. So if you're a bruja or a brujo, you're a witch. You practice some form of magic, and that's witchcraft. So I guess like the difference is European witchcraft versus African diasporic witchcraft. There's definitely a different tradition there. But you have Palo Mayombe, you have Santeria, you have Voodoo, and those all come from the African slaves, which do have magic, but it's a lot of spirit work too. There's actually quite a religion behind the magic. So, like with Wicca, there should be the deity worship and things like that, but there is a magical system in place with those religions.
Right. But if you were going to make a distinction, like if you had to describe to someone and you had to be specific about, let's say, an African tradition and a European tradition, how would you define those two separately?
I would define them by the people who practice them. So if it's a European tradition, I would say Germanic witchcraft or Celtic witchcraft or Norse witchcraft. If it's going to be, like, say, Egyptian, I would say Egyptian witchcraft or Heka. If it's going to be Santeria, then I would say, their practice would be more towards hoodoo, that sort of witchcraft. I would identify it by the people and not necessarily just say witchcraft, because witchcraft in today's world, English-speaking world, it can encompass so many things like the word pagan can. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's becoming. Go ahead.
I was actually just about to say that last part. She said it's just that huge umbrella.
Yeah.
That it falls under, and yeah, like she said, it have gone into like specific like areas. I would just said Western European or something like that, like a Western European type of match. Yeah,
Yeah.
But to me, when it comes down to like voodoo and Santeria, all the Afro-Caribbean styles of magic, it's again, it is magic. There's you can't say it's not. It's there. The science is there. It's magic. And to say that it's not is like saying that it's like a Christian saying that a Catholic's not a real follower of Jesus.
Yeah. Exactly.
In my eyes, that's what it's like to me. Like, I'm a solitary practitioner. I don't identify with any like set group of paganism, and that's why I just use the general term witch. I'm a witch. I'm a pagan, but I don't lump myself in any particular group, because it's all the culture, all the mythologies around it, all of the magic around it it's all wonderful. It's all great. Yeah, I just don't understand why people, have to make that distinction between, my group is better than yours because, and it's like, no, your group is just as valid as mine.
Right.
I'm not initiated into any other path. I have my own path, and that's the great thing about paganism and witchcraft in general, is that you don't have to fall in line.
No.
You can find the deer path and take it by yourself.
Right.
That's the true freedom. That's the actual the essence of that's true in my eyes. And that's why I like paganism so much, is that freedom.
Well, I understand that, Matt. I really do. Make your path your own. But I just did a video on this. There should be some cultural ties that you keep. You got to preserve somewhat of the culture and the tradition. If you have no foundation, your tower's going to come crumbling down. So I think that eclecticism is fine. I get a little eclectic at times. We all do. It's just keep your traditions traditional and understand your foundation before you change things. So it's okay if you want to go with the floral pattern wallpaper. It's okay if you want to go with the stripe pattern paper. But know that underneath that you have drywall, and understand what the purpose of the drywall is. You can put up your paper. But get your foundations and your facts in order before you start screwing around with it.
And that's actually a very good advice to anybody who's starting paganism in general, is get that foundation down.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, it was like, there's Gaelic magic, there's Germanic magic, there's Nordic magic, there's all these different within the world.
Yeah.
That had some form of practice. And yeah, you need to find that foundation. You need to find what you connect with wholly and completely. And if something else interests you, yeah, you may be able to pluck a little bit of something from over here, but make sure, like you said, stick to your roots. That is a very important part of it.
Yeah.
I just find the terms that we use for everything to be so clumsy, because it's like, you can say paganism and then all the things that fall under paganism, but like if you're trying to have a conversation with somebody, and you're trying to define exactly what it is that you practice or you believe, you find yourself starting at one point saying, oh, well, I'm a pagan. Oh, well, yes, I'm a pagan, but I'm also a witch. And I'm a witch who leans towards, so you find, if you were talking to somebody, you find that what you're doing is you're already defining what it is, what you practice. And so I just find it funny that, or not really funny, I just find it clumsy that people will lump everything into witchcraft that might be better described as Santeria, Voodoo. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, yes, it's witchcraft, but it's not really. It's more of focused on Santeria, or it's so focused on Voodoo or Hoodoo.
Right.
And so that's kind of like why, that's what I was kind of like talking about earlier, is like it's so much easier to just go ahead and stick with what it is that you identify with and describe yourself that way. And some people, I think, take offense to that. Like, they're saying, well, yeah, but I still practice witchcraft. It's like, yeah, okay, you still practice witchcraft, but the type of witchcraft that you practice is specific to this area. So I don't know. I mean, it's just, for me, it's probably your husband. I hope it was your husband in the background.
Right?
If not, somebody just walked into your
Call
house.
911.
But and then, like, myself, I find it like really, I find myself like trying to describe, like, to somebody who's never really heard anything. They hear bullshit stories or whatever like that, you and I and we all know, and you try to describe all the various types of witchcraft, all the various types of paganism, all the various types of occultism, all the various types of Satanism, and there's no word to really just kind of like cover this whole huge array of practices,
I kind of like in that live broadcast I had with Tyler.
Yeah.
You know how I said I can't speak for everybody. I can only speak for myself.
No. I was just talking like how a single word that you can use to describe all those people, you can't. There's no way you can use one word. No.
Yeah, even the word pagan has come under fire because it's a Christian word. There are those who don't identify as pagan because it's of Christian origin, and they're like, no, my religion is not pagan. It's not anti-Christian. And that's kind of what paganism sort of started out like. So you don't have this universal term for everyone. My title is kind of long itself, and that's just for other pagans, to identify. I am no longer independent because I'm affiliated with the Reconstruction or the Kemetic Reform of Tutankhamun, but I still identify as Kemetic Witch with hoodoo leanings. I do tend to practice hoodoo over other European traditions, but there is the harder we try to define ourselves, the more words that come out of our mouth.
Right.
Even I saw this even today. It was people that were saying if you're not polytheistic, you're not a witch. And it's like, are you kidding? There are monotheist witches out there. And that's not even including the Abrahamic religions. I'm talking about like Atonism, and I'm talking about others who have a soft polytheistic view of the world to the point of universalism, where everything comes from one source, pantheism. That's all technically under the guise of monotheistic. There's one divine source. So there is no one word that's going to be able to define everyone at any given point. We can only hope to communicate and articulate ourselves well enough for others to understand.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
Just
exactly.
simplifying. Essentially, just simplifying.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I find myself like trying to describe like a whole array of people. I tend to I say pagans, witches, occultists, Satanists. It's like, it almost grows from there. But I mean, like, basically those four kind of cover almost everyone, because there are a lot of occultists who are atheist. They're agnostic. They would call themselves Christian even, you know. And then there's witches who are polytheistic or atheistic or a duotheist, And then you have pagans, and then all the pagans. So I mean, it's just it's really funny. It's just kind of like. And then there was this big push on YouTube for people to just kind of like not identify with anything, which is okay. But the problem is when you get into a conversation with somebody, you start talking about your beliefs. It's just a lot easier if you already kind of have a couple of labels that people can then understand where it is that you're coming from, And yeah, and so I think that's it's just helpful for a conversation if somebody just says, I'm this, and that. And it's not necessarily that once you say, I am this, and that means that suddenly you're locked in that forever and you can't move out of that. And I swear, it's like some people, I get the impression from people that they believe that if they lock down and identify with something, they have to be that for the rest of their life. It's like,
how dare you?
I know, it's like it's like, it's just funny. It's like, it's not like a pair of shoes where, you buy them and that's it. You're stuck with them.
A lot of rags right now.
Yeah, we've definitely gone off topic.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Hey, this is a free show. This is a free show.
Yeah.
I'll change it. I'll change the title: Election Talk and Other Bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I mean, nobody's watching us anyhow. So.
No.
Screw it.
I mean, there will be.
So I'll change the title before it uploads.
Yeah. I mean, there'll probably be people watching us tomorrow, but.
Oh,
and there's definitely going to be some people watching Sunday if we can get that word out.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
what's happening?
Because you have a lot more subscribers than I do, so you might have to tweet out that it's going to be here.
We're talking about our next Heathen Haven show.
Oh, okay. So that's what you're calling it, is Heathen Havenism or Heathen Haven show?
Heathen Havenism. That's the name. That's the name that Mad came up with.
I like that. That's really cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Logan came up to me. I shouldn't say came up to me. I mean, we live.
I tapped him on the shoulder one day.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, man?" Harry Potter does exist, doesn't it? No, he goes to me on Twitter one day. He's like, "Hey, want to do a live show? Well, like a regular live show." I'm like fun. We can do this. Just start poking fun at videos and talking about videos and everything. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, yeah, we could have more people on, maybe guest star every now and again. And I'm like, that actually sounds pretty fun. And I'm like, I got it. Let's call it Heathen Haven.
Yeah, that's great. That's
like,
awesome.
Yes, I'm using it.
I had a great chat with you guys doing Heathen Haven. Like Mr. Billy Goat and toilet paper.
Yeah,
we're not going to be able to make fun of them anymore. They're going to start burning us in the streets.
I don't think so.
They're going to be afraid we're going to use our magic on them.
What's really funny is because I was over at the Now You See TV when this election thing was going on, because they were having a live election thing. They were saying that Christians were going to be persecuted. That
is that what?
Yes, they were saying that if Trump won, that if Hillary won, that Christians were going to be persecuted.
Didn't they say that about Obama election? Did they say about Obama?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's
were they
just,
persecuted?
yeah. It's just,
And then Starbucks with the
it's
red
just
cup?
not going to happen. People get all paranoid for no reason.
Yeah, the Satan cup.
Satan cup.
Oh, what
Like I
was
said,
his name?
Yeah.
That guy who looks like Kevin James.
Okay, looks like Kevin James.
Uber
On what
Neil.
show?
He,
Federstein. Josh Federstein.
yeah. Josh Fecal Matter.
Yeah, that guy's crazy too.
I gave up on him a long time ago. Talking about low-hanging fruit. I mean, that fruit fucking fell on the ground. Wasn't even worth picking up.
The thing I like about having a show with other people watching these videos is because when I'm here by myself and I'm playing these videos, I'm looking at them and I'm just like, face palming and doing all this stuff, and then when I try to capture it on video and do it, I feel like I'm really missing the connection with the audience, because it's really like one of these things like, come over here, look at this is fucking ridiculous, right? Right. That's why I kind of like the idea of this show, because it's so much easier if you have somebody with you to look at something and so, this is ridiculous.
I'm sorry, my dogs want attention. They're just all over me tonight.
Wow,
They usually
you got a couple of dogs.
Oh,
I got two.
puppies.
Say hello, Andy. Say hello to you too.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I got a Chihuahua and a Chihuahua Beagle mix. The Chihuahua Beagle mix looks like a little rat, and then the rat's in his cage eating a cookie. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these response videos, these Now You See TV, they are going to provide hours of the batshit crazy zone material.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe you stumbled across those. That's crazy. That's crazy.
He brought them to my attention one day. We were talking, and he brought my attention to it one day, and I went over there. I looked, and I'm like, "Holy crap! Are their videos long as hell?" And he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah." And I'm like, "And you watch these?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "How? How?" Like the videos I do are short, right? You know, even back when I first started, they were like 30 minutes long. You know,
Yeah.
my videos. And that was still debunking like a 10, 15-minute video.
Right.
Yeah.
That's too much stupid for me to handle.
I like watching these things. I'm watching the screen. I'm holding it like this, just going. That's not how that works.
I know, it's so funny, and then they just make this stuff up. And the thing is, and they always are saying, "Oh well," and like Bill, all of them now. There's new people popping up that say they're coming out of the occult. So it's like, you try to tell them like, no, that's bullshit. That's not true. And they're like, yeah, but I was an occultist and I practiced Satanist for X amount of time. It's like, and
sure,
then he's just
a tall blue duck. Okay, yeah, sure. You're in a the shit that comes out of their mouths. I'm a sexy vampire. Sure you are, toilet paper beard. Sure.
Sexy vampire. Well, the funniest the funniest thing about Bill Schnoebelen is that recently he came out as saying that he also practiced voodoo.
Oh, sure he did.
That's what he said. So he's
Oh.
he's been a Freemason. He was a Mormon. He was a Catholic. He was an occultist. He was a Satanist. He was a Wiccan, and now he also practiced voodoo.
Lord.
Oh, I'm getting mad. You cannot
even
that.
if you even if you are that old, there's no way that you could have that much time to practice all of this stuff
effectively.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, even between the three diverse pagans we have right here, right now, this is a lifelong endeavor. You don't just pick up a book, read it, and be like, okay, I studied it. Now what? I'm a professional in all that is pagan now. No, Bible.
Exactly.
Right? We don't have just one text. We have many, 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 many texts. And there are so many, there's diversity. I mean, there's 3 different types of pagans here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I was going to say. It's you can't spend any amount of time in one religion and say that you're an expert on all of them.
Yep.
He's sitting there claiming all of these things. I'm like, there's no way you practice any of these things effectively if all of these things are under your belt. There's just no possible way you have any in-depth knowledge about any of this. And I swear, if just one of them, gets some form of paganism correctly, I'll die of shock. I really would.
I'm eating. Don't make me joke again.
I have not seen one of these idiots come out and say anything that actually happens within non-Abrahamic traditions.
Right. Yep.
I haven't seen any of it besides, well, I'm a Satanist. Take my word for it. The occult is bad and God is good.
Yeah.
That's the gist of their message. It's bullshit.
Yeah. That's what it comes down to, though. That's what it comes down to. Yep.
That one video before our first episode of Heathen Haven podcast, Zipporah and I were playing some D&D in the chat box.
Oh yeah.
Got you pregnant.
And it was with Billy Goat.
Yeah, Bill Schnoblin. Yep.
The
Billy
younger
Goat.
kid with the Billy Goat.
Oh, oh yeah. Okay.
Or whatever his name is.
Billy. His name is Billy.
Billy. Yeah.
It was Billy Goat. Yeah.
He said something that just blew my mind. I had it and now I forgot.
That was the guy.
People.
That was the guy who was talking about astral projection.
Yeah, he was. No, he said that he was possessed by a demon, and I went to go Google it. I Googled it.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah. Bollock.
And that he was talking about was from a horror flick, a scary movie.
Bollock with the V.
There was no Wikipedia of any culture with this spirit, this demon, whatever it was. There was no historical evidence of it in any text whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Just a list of movies. That this demon was mentioned in.
That's funny.
And I was like, that's what people think we do is this Harry Potter exorcist bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like Harry Potter books, I hated the movies. If you're one of those people who like the movies, I'm sorry, but I hated them. But the books were amazing. And all it was entertainment. I'm like, yeah, this is a nice little twist on the little, fantasy fiction genre. I liked it. Refreshing.
See, now that's why I was wondering what was the name. Was the name of it Volek or Bolek? V or B?
It was V. It was V.
Because there actually, because there actually is from the Goetia, there is a Volek.
Yeah, but he was definitely saying V.
Yeah, with a V. Volek.
Movie.
There is a, but he's a spirit.
Oh, he's a spirit.
Bolek, yes.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about the V.
Yeah. That's why I was trying to. Yeah, because when he said Volek, I was like wondering. I go Volek, and it sort of sounded a little familiar to me. That's why I put it to the chat. I was all, could you look that up for me? But yeah, I'm looking at the Goetia here, and Volek is a lesser spirit.
What does he do? What is he in charge of?
Volek, which is VOLAC, or Volek, VALAK, or Valu, or Volak. The 62nd spirit is Volak, or Valu. He is a president, mighty and great, and appeareth like a child with angel's wings, riding on a two-headed dragon. His office is to give true answers of hidden treasures, and to tell where serpents may be seen. The which he still bring in the which he still bring unto the exercise without any force or strength being by him employed. He governed 38 legions of spirits, and this is his seal. And then it shows the seal of Volek.
So he was a snake detector?
He is a president, mighty and great, and appeared like a child with angel's wings, riding on a two-headed dragon. Child with angel's wings, riding on a two-headed dragon.
But he's supposedly a demon, according to these guys, right?
Well, anything
that's what
God
they said.
is a demon.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just funny.
Well, everything's a demon, according to these guys. So, added.
Well, the thing is, especially with the Goetia, is that like have you ever heard of a Poke Runyon? Poke Runyon?
I missed that last part. It cut out. What was that?
Poke Runyon, a guy named Poke Runyon. He's a magician.
I don't think so.
He runs the Temple of Astarte. I think they're in L.A. And he's put out a couple of DVDs, and he's a pretty respected occultist, and he's been doing it for a long time, and he works with the Goetia. And the very famous magical circle, with the serpent around it, and then there's that triangle on the very top. Well, for the longest time, people perceived that as you're in this magical circle, and then that triangle that was outside of it is where you summon the spirit.
Yeah.
And what Poke Runyon did was he took that triangle that's outside, and he flipped it up, and realized it was actually a mirror, an obsidian mirror. And so what he trains his magical group to do, is to use that triangle to summon the spirit, but the spirit doesn't come from outside, it comes from within. So what you are doing is you are calling in from your subconscious, right? Yeah, from your subconscious, your archetypes, and you are calling forth that spirit. And I think that's an interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Right.
That's really interesting. That's a different take, because I had always heard that I think it goes back to Solomon, that the triangle was used to summon the spirit. Whatever spirit you're trying to control goes in the triangle.
Well, that's exactly where it comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. That it's actually, it kind of sounds like shadow work, pulling out archetypes from your own conscious.
I have no idea what shadow work is. I hear people talking about shadow work all the time.
Exploring the self, self-exploration, understanding yourself, know thyself, that sort of thing. That's my understanding of it anyway.
Yeah.
That it's self-exploration.
Yeah.
That's what but I never heard of shadow work until I came on YouTube. I always called it exploration.
Yeah, I think people got pissed off with me because they were talking about shadow work, and then I'd always question, like, what do you mean by shadow? But
I call that meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, because you're exactly right. With the Key of Solomon, they have that circle, and then that triangle that was outside of it. And yeah, I think even Crowley, Mathers, I think they all believed that it was a spirit that you were calling forth in that triangle. And Poke Runyon just flipped that whole thing on its head and said, no, you're not calling forth a spirit from another dimension. You're actually calling it from your subconscious. And I actually like that approach. I've never worked with it. I've never done it that way.
Yeah, that's different. I don't do a lot of spirit work personally, so that's an interesting take. That's definitely something I'm gonna want to look into, because like I don't do spirit work. I don't work with ancestors. I don't work with outside entities besides my two deities that I associate with. But that's definitely different.
Yeah,
I'll stick to my potions.
Yeah, if you go on, he's the video's on YouTube. If you what is it called? Shoot, what's the name of it? But if you put in like Poke Runyon plus Goetia, it'll come up. He's definitely on YouTube. Like his DVD is on YouTube. But it's really interesting.
Oh. Yeah.
Well,
I'll have to go check it out.
We got off the election again.
Fuck the election.
I know. I mean, what else can we say? I mean, there's only so much you can do with this election. It's kind of like you can either move out of the country or deal with it. I mean,
I'll just go live in the woods for a while.
And get off the
I'll go live in the woods for 4 years.
Well, I mean, basically,
I know how to survive.
Trump has no experience at all, so it's just basically his vice president running the show with Trump's body. Because Trump has no idea what he's doing. He's not a politician. He has no political science.
Right.
Anything. So now that he's won, it'll be interesting to see what he does. He promised a lot of extremists a lot of things. Like, I know you guys are talking about Islamic extremists and things like that. But there's a lot of Christian extremists that still shoot up abortion clinics. There's a lot of Christian extremists that are doing their own thing and protesting marriage and that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see which way he swings the country, if at all. I think he's just, a fucking hot windbag, and he's just blowing smoke up everyone's ass. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. There's no way in hell he's building that wall. It's too expensive. And
then expecting Mexico to pay for it.
Yeah, then Mexico's going to pay for it, right? Yeah. The Mexican president already said a year ago, I'm not paying.
I'm going to build that fucking wall.
Yeah. He said, he's like, I'm not paying for that fucking wall. So it'll definitely be how we swing.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be interesting, but I think that one of the reasons, honestly, one of the reasons why Trump won is people's fear of terrorism. I think that was a big factor. And to be quite honest, I think that America and liberals have really been downplaying it And I think that they really have to recognize that it is a real fear. People are really afraid of that. And for them to bury their head in the sand and call them racist for fearing it backfired on them. I think it's really insulting to call somebody racist for fearing terrorism when you look at the actual terrorism that is happening in this world. People are dying by thousands every month.
Yeah, I mean,
because of
exactly.
terrorism. Maybe not in this country. Yeah, maybe not in this country yet, but in the world, it's happening. You know.
Look at France. Look at Germany.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
and it's just a matter of
their
time.
women are getting raped. Their women are getting raped. Their cars are getting hijacked, but the problem is I consider myself a liberal in a sense, but I do have a legit fear of 9/11 scale attack happening again. I honestly do fear that happening. With very good reasons. It happened already. It happened once already. Who's to say it won't happen again? It's just getting more and more extreme as the years go on. And a lot of these SJWs, I mean, let's be honest, that's who's calling everybody racist and everything for fearing, are saying, well, they're a religion of peace. No, they're not a religion of peace. And majority of them, one, are atheists to begin with. They'll rip on Christianity all day long, say how much Christianity is, a piece of shit religion. They're so nice and so peaceful. You know what? I know some Muslims, and yeah, the Muslims I know are nice, but that's those Muslims that I know. That's not the extremists that are out there with us in their crosshairs. That's American Muslims, people who were born and raised here in America, that conform to our society. I don't like using that word, but they did. They conformed to our society. They integrated within our society, abiding, tax-paying citizens.
Yeah, but that's the difference right there. They're Americans first. They're not Islamic or Muslim first. There's definitely that cultural difference, and I understand the fear. Fear is always going to override logic, at least in most cases with most people. But you also have the cultural difference. Women, they grow up in this religious mindset, and then they're told, well, you can take the hijab off, and you're free now. And they don't understand because it's so integrated into them that this is who they are. So I actually saw like a really good GIF. It was an Arab man putting a complete getup over a woman, and then a French guy pulling it off, and the poor woman standing there doesn't know what to do. So there's definitely always going to be that cultural difference. There's always going to be that clash. But we as Americans need to focus on us. And
She froze. Did you freeze too, Matt? Yep.
No, I'm just really good at standing still.
I think
I get my mom with that all the time.
Is she still there? I think she froze, huh?
She froze.
Yeah, she did. She froze. She's probably very passionate about whatever she's saying right now, too. Are you back? We lost you. We lost you for a second there.
Oh my God! I went a huge feel.
You were getting really into it too. You were so passionate about it, and it was a really good message. And you froze. We lost you too. We found each other. Yay!
I think we lost her again.
It's like
I think we lost her again.
It's like trying to find your kids in Walmart.
Well, I think I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to sign off. I'm falling asleep here.
It's late for you.
Yeah.
It's like what, 2 o'clock over there for you now?
It's like 3 a.m. now. I don't have to get up early or anything, but it was fun. I enjoyed doing this, but we'll have to get together on Sunday.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then that's why I was because I did want to talk to you about like one idea I had. Well, since the board is frozen, one thing I was thinking about doing was maybe we could create a separate channel called the Heathen Haven. What do you think? Or do you
I was
want?
actually thinking about that too, and
Yeah, we lost her. Yep. So
okay, yeah, I think she just hung up.
Yeah, because like we could do it on my channel, then on your channel, back and forth. Oh, she's back. There she is.
Oh, we're back. Okay, are we back?
Yeah.
I had to redo it. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I kept hearing like piano music kind of thing. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Reconnect.
So.
But, that's the difference
But yeah,
between
sounds...
our Islamic people versus everyone else's Islamic people. They're Americans first, so they're not going to go against American culture. You have cultural differences between Muslims that live in Syria and Muslims that live in Canada. You know, it's a huge difference in the cultural mindset of people. So there's always going to be that fear. There's always going to be, you know, that fear of an attack, and that's probably why Trump won, because, you know, he wanted to placate people's fears. But
you see, that's kind of my point, though, is that I think that the fear is justified. You see what I'm saying? And I think that the way the media, and especially like I said, the liberals have been downplaying it and sort of ignoring it and kind of almost making them feel guilty for having that fear. Yeah. And I think that backfired. You see, that's my point, is that they didn't understand that the truth of the matter is that there are bombings happening. There are people getting thrown off the buildings. There are people being beheaded. Mm-hmm. We don't see that on the media. Our media is shielding us from that, but people are exposed to it. They understand that this is happening, and this is a real fear. And the liberals are saying, "Oh, well, you're just being racist, and you're just blah 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 blah." And so they're downplaying their fear, and so, but that fear is still there. Now, I can understand having having an irrational fear versus a rational fear. I think an irrational fear is fearing that in an inner city I'm going to be bit by a rattlesnake. That's an irrational fear. It's not going to happen. But if I lived out in the desert, it now becomes a rational fear because there are rattlesnakes out in the desert. So, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So there's irrational fear and there's rational fear. Yeah.
Definitely. The threat is real. And the Islamic State, you know, but it's just like Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda came first and the Islamic State happened. You know, we're never going to stomp that fear out. But I don't think that we should allow it to govern our lives at the same time.
Have you been to an airport lately?
I'm scared of heights. But, you know, that's one of those things is you have to make a choice. You either have to be afraid and not make your choice, or you have to make your choice and live with the fear anyway. You know, so it's I don't know if I'm explaining this right.
No. I think what you're doing is you're defending the whole fear, which I think is I completely understand that. What I'm saying is that it's One of the reasons why I feel maybe a lot of people voted for Trump was because they don't feel that their fear is actually being recognized and
Right.
dealt with. You see what I'm saying? There's a
No,
difference between that, yeah. Because
I
like if you
understand.
don't feel that, if you like vote for this candidate, that this candidate is actually going to take your fear seriously, whereas this candidate is going to take your fear seriously, or you think they're going to take it seriously, you might vote for this candidate based simply on this fear, whether or not it's rational or irrational, you know.
Yeah,
And
I
I
get
think that
that.
that's
I
where
get.
liberals screwed up.
I definitely. I agree.
Yeah.
And I identify as liberal, but I'm not. I'm not going to this possibility of something bad happening. I'm not going to let that stop me from living my life. And
Right.
it's unfortunately it has stopped quite a few people. You know, they won't hire people that identify as Muslim, or they won't give housing to those who identify as Muslim because they're afraid that they're going to make bombs in the apartment or whatever. There is that irrational sense that a lot of people have, but you know, I was reading the comments of the Now You See TV because they had the live broadcast. But a lot of them were talking about how they were going to go out and blow people up, you know, and the abortion's gone, and I don't know if you saw that, but it was like right at the end after Trump won Pennsylvania. It was a lot of Trump for president and get out of the state liberals and you know, kill all the gays and things like that.
Right.
You know, so there's definitely, you know, fear abroad, but there's also fear domestic that we have to deal with too. So
Thing I don't understand. Like, I can understand differing opinions. I can understand, you know, liberals, conservatives, you know, whatever. You know, I can understand everybody's different mindsets, why they choose that mindset, why they believe this way. To outwardly go out and bash somebody for their political beliefs is senile. It's absolutely just fucking crazy.
I guess I'm a little crazy.
Like, I don't go up to I don't go up to a conservative and be like you're a stupid fuck, don't approve of gay marriage and blah 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 blah. I don't do that. I understand why they believe that way. I understand that. I'm for gay rights, but I understand why they're not for gay rights. Yeah, we'll have a debate. You know, I'll get that open debate going. But the moment names start flying, oh, it's like this is no longer a debate. Like I said at the first episode, you know you won. You know you won. Got nothing.
Yeah.
And if more people were to be like that, to open dialogue, you know, dialogue, not monologue, dialogue, you'd be able to understand more. You'd actually be able to learn stuff. Like I've had debates with Christians, and you know, as many times as I've read the Bible, something you still learn something from that debate, from their evidence. You know, they're like, oh, I hear your point. Here's my point, and here's my evidence.
Yeah.
And then you actually.
No, I get that. No, I understand
and I
that.
like, and that's the reason.
Go ahead.
The reason why I like so much debates. That's the reason why I like debates so much, is because it actually lets you learn and lets you know better.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like you and I, we can sit here and we can have a different opinion on something, and we can discuss it like calm adults and accept that we have differences. But we have this victim mentality that seems to pop up, and you especially see it around things like this, and even in the pagan community, you have this, well, you're just trying to persecute me kind of victimism. And a lot of people, you need to grow the hell up and get over yourself. You just don't know how to have a debate with anybody. If I come forth and I say, well, the threefold law is New Age because it only goes back until 1949, and then you pop up and go, well, you're trying to say Gardner's a hack, and I can't listen to your crap anymore, then that's on you. That's your victim mentality coming forth. And I definitely think that pussification needs to be done away with. I think we need to grow up and kind of get over that a little bit. But
well, yeah, I think that behind the victim mentality is this yeah, like you said, it's just being too sensitive too. I think people just, it seems like people are just getting so sensitive. Everything is offensive. Everything bothers them, and what it is it's no longer your skin that needs to get thicker. The other people actually have to change, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to change everything around them rather than growing a thicker skin and saying, well, bullshit, I don't agree with that. This is my point, and this is why my point. Because if you actually take a position where you are willing to confront and disagree with somebody, first of all, it takes a little bit of courage from you, but also you put yourself out there where you might be right, you might be wrong. And I think that people are not, it's just, I see that almost everywhere, that people are just becoming so sensitive. I remember when I was growing up, when I was a kid, we used to, we would really be brutal to each other. I mean, verbally brutal. And we just, you just learn to blow it off, and you don't worry about it as much. We call people fat, stupid, ugly, all kinds of stuff. And it didn't bother people. They joke about it, say, yeah, I am a fat fuck, or I am an ugly fuck, or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I do it all the time.
Yeah.
If calling me fat is your best defense for why I'm wrong, then you got problems, though, So it is this victim mentality, and I think there's a lot of ignorance that comes from that too.
Yeah.
I like to be right. I know I don't like to be wrong, so I try to learn my shit first,
Right.
But there is that little bit of ignorance that just fuels the victim mentality. It's like if I tell you, well, I've been a witch for 15 years, so I'm automatically right.
Right.
That little bit of ignorance just right there. Yeah, I could be a witch for 15 years, but I can also be wrong for 15 years.
Right. Yeah.
So you have ignorance, you have victim mentality. Those things need to kind of change a little bit if we're going to ever grow in a society.
Yeah, but it seems.
But yeah, I
But it does seem like people are getting more and more sensitive. And that's the thing. That's the thing that disturbs me, is that because it's like, instead of me changing and learning to become more, growing a thicker skin, instead everybody around me has to change. And I think, I mean,
and that's what these SJWs and these, there's no other words for them. They're regressive.
No, everybody has to quit being so fucking sensitive.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, even on my YouTube channel, the racist is the N-word for white people video.
Mm-hmm.
I challenge people in the comment section below, throw your worst insult at me. She called me a cracker-ass cracker.
I did.
She called you a cracker-ass cracker?
A cracker-ass cracker.
I called him a cracker-ass
cracker.
A double cracker?
With cheese in the middle.
Dang.
Cracker-ass cracker.
And there's and on a lot of my other videos, I've had You know, I've had people try to rip me down, and it's like that's actually a really good one. Like I actually compliment them, like that's actually really good. Or better, come on. You're worse. I don't care. You know, I grew
Wasn't
up just
there
like
a French guy who did that?
huh?
And I think there was a French guy who did it in the 1500s. He had a really big nose or something like that, and people would insult him, and he's like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
stuff you should have been. You should have said this, or you should have said that."
Right.
Now that's funny, you know.
Yes. Yeah, Steve Martin did a thing had a Roxanne. There was a movie he did based on that guy. Shoot, what is his name?
I forget. It's been years. I saw it on Wishbone.
Yeah, something Dupont. I'll have to
Like
look it up
that.
now.
It was some French dude, but yeah, he did the same thing. He's just like, this is what was funny. You should have said this, you know. And like, yeah, I'm fat. I've been fat my whole life. That doesn't mean I'm stupid. That doesn't
Right.
affect my intelligence at all. You know, if I have like Logan, if I'm bald, you know, that doesn't affect your brain. So
Oh, you had to go there, didn't you?
yeah,
I am highly offended.
you know what, man? You had hair for a real long time, and then you shaved it. So I don't even want to talk about
That's
that.
because
You
look
had
at
gray-
this. Look at this.
you had
I'm
gray
as bad as
hair.
my Loken. I'm as bad as my Loken. I still got my ponytail too.
Cyrano de Bergerac. Cyrano de Bergerac.
No,
And
oh,
that
she
was
laughed so hard her headphones fell off.
Yeah.
I
Did you hear that,
want to cough
Zabora?
in the mic. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I'm never going to pronounce his name, but
Yeah. Well, I just had to look it up because the name came up. But yeah, but I also, but the reason why I say everybody needs to grow a thicker skin is because I've even encountered some people who would, I guess, not be considered liberal. I guess they'd be considered maybe conservative or whatever, and they are just as sensitive. Like this Hillary thing came up and the spirit cooking and all this stuff, and people were just like they got their panties all up in a wad, and they were all upset about it, and they said some things, and then I countered them, and then they came back and attacked me, and it's like, they're like attacking me, and all I'm just doing is giving them the truth, and I'm even giving them links
how dare you?
and proof.
How dare you?
Right.
How dare you?
Yeah, but so that's
I'm
why,
sorry. I'm sorry here, Billy Goat, but you're wrong. So here's the facts.
yeah, exactly. So I think that everybody has to quit being so fucking sensitive.
Yeah. And
I even do it myself. So I have to check myself and say, you know what, I can't be so sensitive,
no, I do
especially
the
on
same
the
thing.
internet.
Yeah.
Feel for the
I get
trolls.
fired up.
Yeah.
There just comes a point where you're like, oh, it's not worth my time. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Damn trolls.
I've been saying it for a couple of years now that we're living in the pussy generation.
Yeah.
That's the only way. I mean, when I was a kid,
How dare
our
you call me a pussy?
our baseball was a tree branch and a rock. At a rock, you better not cry. And I'm only 27 years old, believe it or not. Don't let the hairline fool you. 27.
I'm
And
28.
that was fun for me to throw pine cones at each other playing war or whatever. Pine cones, those things aren't soft.
Yeah, but the pine cone's the grenade, right?
Yep. But you've got to whip it at their face or something.
I'm taking a
My
punt
dad
on
always-
the sun.
My dad always said, whenever I come home with a scrape or a cut or something, he's like, just throw some dirt on it, you'll be fine. Ew.
That's pretty much how I, yeah. That's pretty much how I was raised. It's like, you're not gonna die. You're fine. Grow up.
But
You're not gonna
but
die.
now people, and it's sad that people, our age, three of us, our age, are little coddled fucks that want safe spaces for just them, or just their people. I don't want you to use like Babe. Babe, what's up? Friends I've called Babe. Or not, I call them Babe. I was like, hey babe, what's up?
I say honey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot of my female friends called me hun too, and it's like, how is that offensive? That's a sign of endearment in the English language.
Yeah.
As that's how I learned it. And
I think
now no, it's sexist, it's sexual harassment, and it's rape. Either racist, sexist, or rape with pussy generation. Just plain and simple.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in my opinion, if you're gonna have an opinion, you know, you're gonna have to be able to take, some kind of feedback. You don't get to just talk and then not hear my side, or
Right.
I don't get to just talk and then not hear your side. And nobody wants to hear you. They want to hear them come out of your mouth. So I think people need to stop telling other people how to live. So long as you're not hurting anybody, it's none of your goddamn business.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about legalizing drugs earlier, and I'm with you, Logan. I think it needs to be legalized, maybe not necessarily endorsed by the government, but if you guys break into my house to steal my Xbox and my TV, there are still laws in place to prosecute you guys and deal with you if you do that. But you shouldn't tack on drug charges just because you were high. I think that's just beyond crazy. I think if you're going to live in a free country, it should be a free freaking country. But that's the pussification of our nation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just really interesting because if you look at the history of curse words and back in the 80s, there were record labels that, I mean, before, like, they could have all kinds of themes, and I think the rap music that was coming out at the time was very explicit, and they dealt with a lot of topics that people didn't want to hear, and so what they did was, I think Tipper Gore's wife was behind it, or Tipper Gore, yeah, I forget her name, but she got these ladies together, and then that's why now we see these explicit lyrics labels on records. Because before, in the 80s, they were like bleeping stuff, like you used to hear on the radio, yeah, blah blah blah, all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, like overnight, you heard blah 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 beep, blah 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 beep. And it was the funniest thing, and all of a sudden we were like looking at these records and they had like explicit lyrics on it, and the whole thing was, what they were doing was they were picking out what words were offensive. And there was this big whole thing. I mean, even Crass, this old punk band, they put out a record called the Freedom of Speech. All it was because one song was taken off their record, they could not publish it, so they replaced it with a blank song, 3 seconds of silence.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's
and so there was Neil Diamond, I don't know, but a couple of artists went before judges and then tried to really fight this to get freedom of speech. Because they felt it was an infringement of their freedom of speech, and they fought for it. And then Yeah, and then they lost. They lost, and then that's why we have explicit lyrics on our records now. This happened in the 80s. This is the same thing they're doing right now. What they are doing is they are self-censoring, and people are allowing it to happen. Pretty soon, it's
Yeah.
going to be to the point where you're not going to be able to say all of these words because they are deemed offensive. And so it's very, in my opinion, I think
Yeah.
it's very dangerous. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
self-censoring.
Well, getting back to the election and Trump, he's all for the Patriot Act, you know, and so I'm waiting for when I get kicked off of YouTube to fuck too much, because I know I got to fuck myself, you know.
What's the Patriot Act?
The Patriot Act.
Go ahead, Matt.
Act allows them to skirt around the Fourth Amendment.
I missed that.
Right to privacy is gone.
It allows them to skirt around the Fourth Amendment in the Bill of Rights, to where illegal search and seizure. Search and seizure. It allows for illegal search and seizure. Tap your phones, tap your computer, you know, go through your mail, your emails. It allows the government to do that. And
it treats everyone as criminals.
But wasn't that already established after 9/11?
Yeah,
that was established after 9/11. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
right. So what does Trump have to do with that?
Oh no, Obama got rid of it. He actually abolished the Patriot Act, and Trump is bringing it back. And again, that opens
he's bringing it back already.
Yeah,
he just got elected.
I thought he was just going to open medical laws.
From my understanding, he wants the Patriot Act to prevent ISIS from to use the internet. Now, I don't know about you, Matt. You said you were liberal, but I'm liberal to the extreme. I actually am for all freedoms of expression, so long as you're not hurt. Like flag burning, okay? Yeah, it's anti-American to burn our nation's flag, but if you're upset with America, I view that you have every right to burn the flag. If that's how you feel, you buy the flag, you put your money into it. No one can tell you what to do with your property. So I'm kind of liberal in that extent. And then, like Logan said, with the censoring and people are allowing other people to dictate to them what they should and should not do. As long as you're not hurting anyone, you should stay the hell out of my business. So that's my opinion.
I'm the type of liberal that views the Bill of Rights as absolute. The first 10 amendments of the Bill of Rights is absolute. There's no law higher than that. It's
right, but that's open to interpretation. Yeah, but that's open to interpretation. Because who's to say what is and isn't covered by the Bill of Rights? You know, there's why we have lawyers. They argue their interpretation of the law. So the law is always open for interpretation.
That's why the Second Amendment is under fire, no pun intended, from both sides. You know, I mean, yeah. I agree with the gun laws. Some of the gun laws we have, like, you know, violent offenders, no guns. Prove yourself a danger to society, we're not going to give you the opportunity to easily kill somebody ever. I completely agree with that. But now they're trying to limit what types of guns you have, which I can understand. You know, military grade weapons, hands. I agree with that. But to limit, you know, how many guns you can have, limit how many bullets you can have, limit how many magazines you can have, or how many bullets in the magazine you can have. That, you know, and some people are saying, well, that's for muskets only, and it's like, They had submachine guns back then. When the Bill of Rights, no, it's arms. Technically, anything could be an arm. I can pick up a fork right now, and I am now considered to be an armed man.
No, you'd be forked.
Yeah.
I'd be forked. I'd be forked, definitely.
Up against somebody with a gun, you'd be forked.
I'd be forked, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't even like guns. I don't even like guns.
Yeah, okay.
But I will defend a person's right to have a gun.
Yeah. But the thing with the explicit lyrics is that, you see, these ladies, these very Christian ladies, pretty much campaigned this whole thing, and led by Tipper Gore. And what it was they found all of these lyrics and these songs to be offensive. They found these lyrics to be offensive, and they felt that their children should not be exposed to these offensive lyrics. People on the radio should not be exposed to these explicit, offensive lyrics. That was the whole push for it. So people agreed with them, and they said, okay, these words are considered to be offensive. And so it was society that decided and dictated this. It wasn't the government. It wasn't anyone else. It was the people decided that these words were offensive. Today, we're doing the same thing. We are determining that certain words are offensive. You see, that's the key difference. I'm not afraid that Trump is going to come in and deem X amount of words offensive because, well, he can't. He can't change the Constitution. The people can change it. So if people agree with certain people that these words are now offensive, and we begin to start to censor ourselves, we're essentially doing the same thing. So you and I talking on the internet, if I say a certain word that's deemed offensive and it can be bleeped out or whatever, that's just the beginning. If it gets to that point, that's just the beginning. Pretty soon it'll get to the point.
Well, it's already happening in universities.
Yeah. The UK, they have anti-hate speech laws. You're not allowed to go on the internet or on air and say, screw all Mexicans, or I guess in the British, whatever they hate over there, I don't know. But they have anti-hate laws. You're not allowed to say, fuck ISIS or anything like that, because you might start an anti-Muslim campaign. They are afraid of what may happen, instead of dealing with what is happening. They're more focused on what may happen. But, that's how that stuff starts. We allow others to dictate to us how we should live or what we should and should not say, and that becomes so much else. It just opens the doorway. Where do we stop with that? So I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly, because Canadian universities are starting to use proper pronouns, or you're going to be kicked off campus. It's like, I'm not going to use, they, them pronouns to refer to a male or a female. So it looks like I'm not going to college in freaking Ontario because I'm just not going to do it. That's not the English language.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's something else, like with the transgender community is really making a loud noise now with what they should be identified as, And I don't say the gendered. I had way too much alcohol. I don't say cisgender. I'll say him or her, and yeah, that can be offensive to some. And I apologize in advance if I do offend you for that. But I'm not going to not say it because you were offended. Grow up and deal with it, If you tell me you identify as female, I'm going to refer to you as female, even if you have a penis. If you tell me you identify as male, if you have a vagina, I will identify you as male, because that is what you have asked me to do. But don't expect me to be a mind reader and refer to you as watching this. You know, that's what people come down to, is you should know what I think. And it's like, how should I know how you think? It's hard enough dealing with this, you know, without another voice in it.
Yeah. Well, I know.
So,
go ahead. Are you done?
it's late, yeah.
It's late for all of us.
I know, exactly. Yeah. Well, I know in
2 hours.
In San Francisco, obviously I encounter a lot of people who are transgender, and it's kind of obvious if somebody is. You're probably going to refer to them as him or her, and if you don't, hopefully people will express to you, like, I prefer to be called her, or I prefer to be called him. And, I think you have to kind of establish it. You have to kind of like hint at, like, however you can, that this is how you like to be identified. I think that you have, first of all, that's your responsibility. Like, if somebody called me her for whatever reason, I would correct him and I'd say, no, I'm him. And if they continue to do that, then that's a problem. But if when we first meet, or one or two times or whatever, they make a mistake, they call me, they misgender me, I think that there has to be a certain amount of, it's kind of like, okay, look, this is the second time you've done it, this is the third time you've done it. What's keeping you from identifying me by the correct term that I have, I've put out there that I want to be called? If you're not calling me this, is it because you don't want to recognize it, or because you're just stupid? You know what I mean? So there has to be that, and but I think that if I think that people who just want to be like, they don't want to be either, they want to be both, or they don't want to have a gender identity, it's the same thing. They have, like, if they want to be called they or their or whatever, they need to let people know, and then if people continue to misidentify them, then that's a problem. But I think that it's basic human interaction, like Zabora. If I kept, every time you and I interacted, I kept calling you Nancy, you'd be like at some point, like, like, Loken, we've talked X amount of times, my name's not Nancy, my name is Zabora. It's just mutual respect. I'm going to call you by the name that you identify with, and it's the same thing with genders. If you identify as a female, I should refer to you as a female. If you identify as a male, I should refer to you as a male. You know what I mean? I mean, that's how I look. I don't get so caught up in this, but I do also understand that, it's a responsibility on the other. Like, for example, like, let's say everything about me you perceive as male, but I identify as a female. Then if people keep misgendering me, I have to understand that what I'm showing to the world is mostly masculine. And so they're going to keep misgendering me, But I don't think that the government or anybody should interfere with that. That's a social thing, Yeah. I'm not going to, like, if somebody keeps calling me Nicholas every time I see them, and my name's not Nicholas, after a while I'm going to stop hanging out with that person because they're a jerk, And it's the same thing with gender identity, in my opinion,
I don't want it to come off like I'm anti-trans or anything like that.
Oh,
because
no. I was just making my point. I wasn't. Yeah.
I don't really care what you have or don't have between your legs. And if I misidentify you, then I apologize. But it's like you said, there is a certain responsibility that you have yourself to let people know, no, I don't identify as cisgender, I identify as cisgender, or I identify as androgynous, or if I'm straight, and someone else says, well, I'm bisexual, then I would refer to that person as bisexual. I wouldn't refer to them as, a deviant or whatever, but there is a certain responsibility that you have. You all right, Mad?
The cat fell off the chair.
Oh my God! Yeah, there is a level that you have to take responsibility for yourself.
Yeah.
I'm one of those.
It's too late.
I'm one of those guys. I understand trans people. I respect trans people. But trans people like Blair White, her I can respect. But this ad that's going around, I can't. These bajillion genders, this gender spectrum, I just can't. Like, call me what you will, but binary, biologically binary, it is not a social construct like trans fatters want you to believe. It's you either have a penis or you have a vagina, and you can make it to where your vagina is a penis or your penis is a vagina. I completely respect that, but don't tell me that you're a non-binary or agender, because you obviously have something between your legs.
No.
And that's me.
No,
that's me.
Simply because of what do you call it? It's where you have both hermaphrodites.
Hermaphrodites? That's
those
0.
are real.
Or 1% of the human population. I understand them too.
Yeah.
Like,
but they typically they identify with.
Right. If they want me to identify them as male and they still have both, I will identify them as male.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. They still have a gender.
But
that's what.
Yeah, but there's also two different things. There is transsexual, and then there's transgender. So, meaning that you can have the mindset and psychological makeup and chemical whatever's that makes you feel more female or masculine. Then you can have the sexual organs of a female or of a woman. Right. But those two things are separate. So you can have the male sexual organs, but have a female gender. So, you know what I mean? So you can feel you can identify as a woman even though you are masculine. You see what I'm saying? So you can. So in that point, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I mean, I don't know about this whole. I don't have this spectrum, but I do understand that there are people out there who feel that they are like in a male body, but they have a female brain. You know, they don't feel that their gender reflects their sexual organs or their sexual orientation. So, I mean, if somebody identifies
dysphoria,
right, but like let's say somebody who's asexual, like they don't really feel sexual or they don't have a desire, I could see maybe somebody who's doesn't feel male or doesn't feel female. They kind of feel maybe fluid or in the middle. But then again, right, but androgynous, yeah. So, but it comes down to the same thing. It's how they want to be called. I think it's like basic respect, Like if I kept calling you, the Happy Witch every time we met, you'd be like, my name's not Happy Witch. It's Mad Witch. Get it through your
I'm
fucking
angry.
skull. But on the other hand, if every day I met you, like let's say one day you and I meet, you call yourself Nicholas. So I go, okay, all right, so this guy's name is Nicholas. The next time you and I meet, I call you Nicholas, and you're like, my name's not Nicholas, it's Luke. Okay, his name's Luke. Next time I meet you, hey, Luke. No, my name's not Luke. Now I'm Steven. You see what I'm saying? So
I can't deal with that.
What I'm saying is, if you were gender fluid so much that your gender kept changing and other people had to keep up with it, that's ridiculous. I mean, that's where I would draw the line.
And that's what it is. Their pronouns are now Z, Zer, Zer. What's a Z? It's a letter. It's a letter.
I don't know. What's a Nicholas? What's a Luke? What's a Stephen? I don't know. It's what they want to be called.
When you make up your mind, you let me know, and I will identify you as that. That's what it comes down to. But
yeah. Well, all I'm saying is go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, it's like you said, there's a certain responsibility you have yourself to let others know who you are. If I referred to you as a Buddhist, you'd be like, no, I'm Wiccan. It's you have to let others know a certain label that we can identify with, because that's how the human mind works. We have to label it to understand it, because once we have a word for it, we know what it is. Mm-hmm. It's we have to have that just a little bit of a label there for you. So
yeah, right.
I mean,
my point is that, biologically speaking, like, to go off of what Logan says, that yes, gender is, and yes, scientifically, a two-part thing. Physical gender, which is what's between your legs, and psychological gender. This has been scientifically proven. That is, like I said, that's called gender dysphoria. But it still only has two aspects.
Male or female.
And female. And then you have the ones that the gender fluid as androgynous, if I can speak English today. They're confused. They have an equal level of these chemicals, and they can't quite figure it out. So one day, yeah, they might, if it's a chick, they might dress up as a boy. One day, baggy pants, baggy shirt, a baseball cap, whatever. And then the next day, they might, put makeup on, put a dress on, or whatever.
Yeah.
And, day by day, they'll be like, once you get to know that person, you'd be like, oh, when they dress like this, they would, or more boyish. When they're dressed like this, they're feeling a little bit more girly. Get that feel about that person. What I was trying to get at is that the spectrum of genders that they now have is just mind-boggling. And they're saying that gender, both physical and psychological, is a social construct. It's just not. Sexuality is not a social construct. It is a chemical imbalance. It is biological. There are people who absolutely feel no sexual at all towards either gender, either sex about it. There are people out there that are like that. And then there are people who like both. There are people who like the same, and there are people who like the opposite. But to say that, but that's sexuality. That's a completely different total part, separated from gender. Your gender doesn't determine your sexuality. biology does. Your chemical imbalances, your attraction, the reptilian part of your brain determines what you are attracted to. A lot of these, especially the younger people who are just turning like 16, 17 years old, 18 years old, just starting college, whatever, they're themselves to be in a position to where they know they don't feel comfortable in, but they're forcing themselves into it because they want to prove a point. They want to have that victim mentality. They want to have that victim complex and be special.
Well, it can also come down to wanting to fit in, wanting to have that identity to fit within that group. So yeah, I kind of get that. You know, it's just such a touchy subject because everyone has their own views and their own opinions, and I don't know, me, a straight white female, probably not the best person to talk about transgender issues. But you know,
well, I'm a cis white male piece of shit, so.
Well, I mean, I don't mind. Again, you know, I just consider it as just a name. You know, I mean, if somebody wants to be called Zer or Z or whatever, I mean, I'll do that, but they got to let me know that they want to be called that. You know,
yeah.
I mean, there's also human sexuality. I mean, human sexuality has kind of been, it was put on hold for about, I don't know, maybe 2,000 or 3,000 years. So, you know, we kind of had this idea, this concept that there was male and females. Males like females and females like males. And this was the way it was. It's the way it is in nature, blah, 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 and all this other stuff. Then, like maybe 200 years ago or something like that, they discovered that there were people who were, well, I mean, it's always been there, but it was kind of hidden, that there were homosexual people, males who were attracted to males and females who were attracted to females. And then it was kind of, you know, back in Greece, you know, it was on pottery and all this stuff. And then it was suppressed for a long time, and then it was made illegal, and then it was accepted. And I mean, my whole point is that there could be a large part of human sexuality that we are now allowing ourselves to explore or to discover. And for us to kind of step back and say that people are making this up or you know, they're confused or whatever, I think is kind of, it's a little bit of a judgment on our part. Yeah, it's a little bit of a judgment on our part. And I mean, I think that there could be people out there who, yeah, they're just playing around with it. They're not being serious. They're just kind of, you know, let's see how much fun I can get away with by playing around. But if they are doing that, the only people that they are hurting are the people who are actually struggling with their gender identity. You know what I mean? But I think that there is probably a part of our human sexuality that just, it may be coming out because it's free to come out, free to be expressed. You know.
Well, I know I said this earlier, but you know, what you do in the privacy of your own home, you know, if it doesn't affect me, then I have no place telling you what you can and can't do with that. You're not trying to cut my tits off. You're not trying to give me a penis. So I have no issues if you want to cut your that doesn't affect me in any way whatsoever. I'm not having sex with you. That doesn't affect me in any.
Mhm.
So I guess I really don't care who you sleep with. I don't care, as long as it's legal. I don't care what you do to your own body. That has no bearing on me and what I do to my body. Like my great aunt flipped out because I have tattoos. But that doesn't affect you. Why do you care? So I guess it just comes down to that. If you don't try to interfere with my life, I won't try to interfere in your life as long as you're not hurting anyone. I don't want to see no child molesters out there trying to claim that I said different. So clarify that.
Right.
Yeah, you're not hurting.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm not just talking about sexuality. I'm also talking about gender too. I mean, there may be people who, like they feel, I don't know, maybe they feel more feminine on one day, more masculine on another. I mean, I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is that I think that the whole gender sexuality issues maybe just not so binary. I guess is the best way to describe it. We, like I said,
It's like you said, evolution. We're coming out of that stagnant period of it being illegal to be not straight. So
Right.
we're coming out of that. We're evolving. So it's just like with this election, we can only see where it goes from here, and hopefully we make the right choices and moral decisions, and not just doing what other people tell us to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's kind of like names and labels. Whatever you identify with is probably what you should expect people to call you. Nobody's going to be able to read your mind.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, I just like you said. I mean, what two consenting adults do in the privacy of their own homes, is their business. And when we come out and we interact with the public, with each other, we have to understand that there's certain social, there's certain guidelines, that we all follow, that we've kind of the culture and the society establishes. Like I don't go up to a woman and grab her tits as a sign of hello. It's just not done. We just don't do that.
Gotta be some boundaries.
Yeah. And so when we address each other, there has to be kind of like the way of addressing somebody. Either you address them as sir, her, him,
Yeah.
zer, z, zem, zap, zoop. I don't know, whatever. As long as they just let me know how they want to be called, I'll call you zoop. I'll call you zim. I'll call you zip. Call you whatever you want.
Just let me know.
Yeah.
That's all I'm asking.
Exactly. Yeah. Nobody's gonna be able to read your mind.
Yeah. Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Exactly. Yep. All right. I think I've had it. I think I gotta go. I'm falling asleep here.
Yep. You still got my number, don't you?
Yeah. Hold on. Let me check.
I think I'm gonna check out too, Matt. It's 3:30 here. I can't imagine how late it is there. So.
5:47.
Oh my God, yeah. I'm just making content here, so gotta check out that.
I think you called me I think you've called me before, right, Mad?
I still got you implanted in my phone.
Okay, so you still got my number.
Yep.
I think I'm pretty sure I saved you. What's your name again, Frank?
It's Johnny.
Yeah, I got you here, Mad.
There, that was from me. Just in case.
Yeah, 715.
Don't, not over.
No, don't start.
I have other digits that I didn't reveal. I'm just wondering if that's
Yeah.
correct. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't ask me.
Fun with your little.
I'm not going to ask you for your number.
I spend too much time with you assholes already, you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll catch you guys later.
All right. Good night.
Right.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming on.
All right.
Yeah. Bye.